I actually think you gave this fun fact before, and I've already forgotten it. So,
If I did, then I don't remember either,
yeah, I definitely don't. I don't
which
know.
is
Maybe I'm.
on brand.
Welcome to My God a Podcast. I'm Jim Wood. In this episode, John Powell and I preview Georgia's matchup with the Alabama Crimson Tide in Tuscaloosa. We talk through what we're looking for in the game, and we answer questions from you, our listeners. As always, remember to check out the newly redesigned MyGottaPodcast.com to see our latest merch. And you can follow us on social media at MyGottaPodcast. Finally, if you need help with your website or your online presence, head over to workingwebmedia.com/dogs. Now, let's join the conversation in progress. All right, JP. Uh, another Georgia Alabama preview. We've done a few of these in the short time we've been doing this podcast.
And we're back.
We're back.
We're back to talk about the Crimson Tide.
Oh man. I actually, so not something I'd planned to talk about. I was thinking about it. I think the only time since we've started this podcast, I think 2022 was the only season we didn't play Alabama. So I guess this should be the norm for us.
Yeah, that we always have Alabama as a game preview,
Yeah.
as an episode.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah,
um
it's under new management though.
yeah. Yeah. True. It is weird, isn't it? Isn't it weird? Kirby was acting like it's not weird in the press conference. I disagree.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be weird. He's gonna roll out there to shake hands with the head coach that all intents and purposes he knows nothing about this guy. I'm
Right.
sure he knows. I'm sure he knows him through the coaching fraternity or whatever. But like, I mean, he never coached with this guy, so hopefully he has removed any emotional elements that may still be lingering when he plays his mentor and all of the mental baggage that goes along with that, and he can just dial in on beating the piss out of somebody new.
Yeah. Yeah. Cheers to that.
Yeah. Speaking of cheers, do
Yeah.
we
What do
you got anything? You got anything? I'm rolling with the elite. I'm
you,
rolling with
ooh,
the elite.
nice. Nice. Um, I'm rolling with Maker's 46. So,
Like that one. I need to go get. You know what? That's gonna be my next bottle purchase. I feel like I really
um,
like it if I could find cast strength, but
I have that. This is not that, but I do have that. I do have the Maker's 46 cask strength on the shelf.
excellent. You may hopefully you won't need that this weekend. You'll just need the regular old Makers 46.
Right. Right. Seriously. Okay. Well, here's the actual cheers. Cheers, JP.
Cheers, dear listener.
May the dogs roll the tide on Saturday.
Here, here.
Um, yeah, I did. Okay. So the reason why I grabbed that, I actually went back, and I went and checked on something. I went and checked our 2021 National Championship preview episode. I went and pulled it up and listened to the first like 2 minutes to see what bourbon I had. Uh, and it was funny because I actually made some kind of comment about getting back to basics. And so I'd gone back to like a trusty bourbon in Maker's Mark 46. So decided to pull that back out to relive that one. So figured it
I
worked
like
then.
it.
Try it again. Try it again.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with that one.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's it's a solid pick.
It's the tried and true. All right. Why don't we
Got some news and notes.
got to yeah, so we'll jump through the matchup. So 7:30 p.m. night game kickoff in Tuscaloosa at Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium. Um, I will point out, JP,
Seven, just to confirm, 7:30 Eastern or 7:30 Central?
it is 7:30 Eastern time.
Yes.
Yes. So 6:30 little local.
All those dogs traveling.
Yes.
Don't get
Yeah.
confused.
Yeah. Yes. 7:30 Eastern.
That's like we're we're on fall break for Cobb County right now, so all these people are going to the beach and stuff. We're not going to the beach, but all these people going to the beach, that was always like
Yeah.
one of those travel wrinkles heading to the
Nice.
nether
Right.
the nether time zone.
Right. I did find it funny that like in the Georgia matchup notes, they didn't list it as Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium. but I noticed that when I pulled up the Alabama's notes. So I thought that was kind of interesting. I don't know if we're choosing not to acknowledge that or if that just hasn't made it into all the language yet. Um, the dogs are coming
Yeah,
in.
we
Huh?
don't care.
Yeah, yeah.
We don't care.
The dogs come in 3-0, 1-0 in the SEC. Alabama also 3-0, but 0-0 in the SEC. So this is their first conference game this weekend. Um, the dogs are ranked number 2 in the coaches poll. Sorry, number 2 in the AP poll, number 1 in the coaches poll, and Alabama is number 4 in both. This is the SEC on ABC night game. So we get the big crew with Chris Fowler, Kirk Herbstreit, and Holly Rowe. And the official hashtag is hashtag UGA versus Bama. History in the series: Bama leads the all-time series 43, 26, and 4. Um, and as we were talking about before we hit record, JP, um, this two schools do not disagree on the all-time series, so not a true rivalry game by our definition here at My God Podcast. And last meeting, obviously, was the SEC championship game where the dogs lost 27-24. Um, the weather, I had heard some stuff about like maybe like storms or
Hurricanes coming
something.
through, right?
Yeah, yeah, but it's not made its way into the forecast yet, at least. So, um, looks like right now like 82, sunny, partly cloudy. 63 is the low in the evening. So, if that holds, that sounds like a lovely late September football game weather.
It sounds like it's going to be a pretty good game
Yep.
weather-wise.
Yeah, yeah. So we'll see if that holds. We'll definitely monitor the weather for those that are going to the game.
Yeah, for real.
Um, I think we're going to be light on the fun facts this week since we preview these guys like every season. I've done multiple
I
times.
do I
So
do
did you have
have
anything? What did you have?
I do have some fun facts. I think that was it Seth Emerson posted something about this. Kirby Smart is what, like 22-0 or something like that when he has more than a week to prepare. He's undefeated when he has more than a week to prepare for an opponent.
Amazing.
Um, and yeah, I like to think that that bodes well for us, for the Bulldogs from Athens. Um, then Bubby Dean also had a fun fact for us, that Mark Dricht was 2-0 in Tuscaloosa. Um, he was suggesting that maybe we should have him there on Saturday night. I
Yes.
don't know if he will be there, but I can't imagine that it would be a bad thing to have him on the sidelines.
Hey, I'd be all for it. He was at the Clemson game. And that one turned out pretty nicely. So yeah,
Yeah,
maybe we need to bring
yeah.
Coach Rick to more games.
Come on, coach. Get out there. Get on the
So
sideline.
my fun fact actually builds off of that. So game day will be there this weekend, and for both of those Mark Richt victories in Tuscaloosa, game day was there for both of those as well. So
Ooh, that's
2002,
a good fun fact.
2002, the Dogs won 27-25. That was the man enough game where
Hmm.
Pat Dye said we weren't man enough to beat Alabama. Um, and then 2007, the 26-23 overtime game. That was the first game that Scott Howard called. That was that season where Munson called only the home games in the Tech game. So that got us the one and done baby. Stafford to Mikey Henderson walk off touchdown. That was also the what is Brittany doing with her life? So
That's amazing.
I feel like we can't play these guys without bringing that up. Always got to bring that up.
What is Brittany doing with her life?
What is Brittany doing with her life?
I do have a semi fun fact.
Okay.
More so just a history lesson. It'll help segue into our next segment, which I'm super excited about.
Yeah.
Um, so I found myself wondering, like you hear the word Tuscaloosa, you hear Tuscaloosa all the time, title town, Tuscaloosa, blah 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 blah. Do you know what Tuscaloosa actually is? Like what it means?
I okay. This is a case of I actually think you gave this fun fact before, and I've already forgotten it. So
If I did, then I don't remember either,
yeah, I definitely don't. I don't
which
know.
is
Maybe
on brand.
uh,
Tuscaloosa is it's actually named for the name Tuscaloosa is a chief, a former chief of a tribe that I guess that there's not really any like definitive where did he come from, but they believe that he was Choctaw or Creek, like his ancestors were in those tribes.
Okay.
But Tuscaloosa was a chief of a tribe and a village in and around modern day Tuscaloosa. And his name actually means black warrior. So Tuscaloosa literally means black warrior.
Okay.
And Tuscaloosa got his fame. He's famous for basically being kidnapped or taken hostage by DeSoto when DeSoto was, when he had his expedition of North America. And Tuscaloosa was, I guess, when he was captured, that he orchestrated behind enemy lines a method to try to attack and beat back the Spaniards. And I guess that they kind of did for a while, but the Spanish, with their technology and all that kind of stuff, basically, um, they were able to re-enter the city that was his home fort, basically. He had a fortified city, and they were able to get into it, and basically they burned and destroyed literally everything.
Wow.
So they put up a fight, and DeSoto and the Spaniards came and basically pushed him back into nothing, and everyone died. They literally it was a scorched earth situation for his people. So
Hmm.
um, there are reports that he was basically a man that was like otherworldly, really tall, taller than the Spanish people around him, like a foot and a half taller than the Spaniards. So he was a mountain of a man, if you will.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, basically he was a really strong, fearful man. And he died at this battle, the Battle of Mabila. I believe I'm saying that right. That was the village that the Spaniard Hernando Soto destroyed.
Got it.
I hope that Kirby is channeling DeSoto as we travel to
There,
Tuscaloosa.
there we go. Bring it full circle.
We say burn the boats,
That's
burn the
right.
village.
That's right. That's right. Um, should I cue the music?
We should absolutely cue the music.
All right. As requested, we have unearthed what we think is worthy of the music for Hasty's Hard Grit History. All right, so that's what the SEC on ABC song should have been. There was a lengthy discussion. The episode always opens joining conversation in progress, and tonight is no exception. There's uh,
No exception.
where we did a breakdown, which this should probably be some good off-season content, where we did a
Could have
breakdown
been a
of
good
the
bi-week content, Jim.
could have been could have been the difference between that song and the song we're actually getting. Brett, we need to discuss this with you. My take is they did a new arrangement of the same song. At any rate, Hasty's Hard History.
My take is it's totally different.
It is different. It's the same song, but yeah, very different.
Totally different.
It was better before. I don't know why they messed with it. I don't
Yeah.
know why they
Yeah.
quote modernized it. So should have left it alone.
Yeah. I mean, when I'm listening to that song, Jim, I'm just thinking like, man, I'm sitting back at my dorm,
Yeah.
probably at O House. Tyler's down the hall. And we're just listening to Ron Franklin go to town telling Holly Rowe to calm down, sweetheart.
I mean, it's totally Ron Franklin. Like I don't know, it's such good memories. All right, over to
I
you.
feel like I feel like there's got to be a cut of the music where we could probably cut in Ron Franklin's voice where he says greetings from.
I feel like I actually found one off the rails. I found one that was like it was actually a Georgia Alabama game that had that like the old intro music. They I will say they
It was
evolved it.
probably the Mikey Henderson game.
I think they had already changed it a bit by then, but yes, like it was a version of it in the 2000s. They had already started to change it. It was they keep making it worse. Like the one that I played is like the really good one. I can't remember what year it's from. But then they kept making it worse and worse and worse, and then we ended up with what we have now.
Yeah.
So they slowly degraded it. The one that we have here is glorious, though.
Yes, I agree. It is a quintessentially college football theme music,
Yeah,
whereas whatever it is that we have now is I don't know, dropout music. I don't know.
yeah, it's not the same.
Not the same. Okay. This is Hasty Target history for UGA versus Alabama. As always, thank you, Jason. Appreciate it. And also happy birthday for those of you that don't know. It was
Okay.
Jason's birthday. Was it yesterday?
Yes,
Yes.
it was over the weekend on Sunday. Yep.
Sunday. That's what it was. Okay. Like most Georgia fans, I am equally amused and inspired by the occasional leaks of Coach Smart's halftime and pregame speeches. In 1942, though, it wasn't hilariously profane and inspiring speech from the head coach that sparked Georgia to a win over a rival, but a bitter remark from a teammate. The Bulldogs had struggled like many programs during the hard years of the Great Depression. Harry Mayer resigned at the end of the 1937 season. Joel Hunt lasted only 1 year in 1938, and Wally Butts took over to rebuild the program starting in 1939. By 1942, the Little Round Man, as Butts was affectionately known, fun fact, I didn't know that.
I didn't know either.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious. Uh, had built a powerful team around his innovative pass-oriented single wing offense. Frank Sinkwich was a dual threat at the tailback position, and he had a strong supporting cast around him, including all SEC guard and co-captain Walter Rourke. Is that how am I saying that right?
I believe so.
Um, and sophomore back Charlie Trippi. Never heard of him. In the preseason, the media expected that the Bulldogs would be a contender for the SEC championship and would challenge for one of the few bowl games that were then in existence. Sadly, Jim, at the time, there was no Cheez-It Bowl, Duke's Mayo Bowl, or the Pop-Tart Bowl in 1942.
Correct.
I guess they just made them worse as they went
Yeah, it's
along.
just like the ESPN music. God, come on, guys.
Georgia went undefeated, though. Georgia went undefeated through a tough and um, early season schedule, and was ranked number 2 in the AP poll. Going into the game against number 3 Alabama on Halloween of all things, the game was played at Grant Field in Atlanta due to the wartime travel restrictions that were then in place. Going into the fourth quarter, Georgia was behind 10-0, and in a huddle between plays, a Georgia player whose identity has been lost to history, bitterly asked his teammates, "How do you think Tommy Witt feels about us now?" Tommy Witt was a center who played in 1939 and 1940. He had been killed in action earlier that month when the B-25 bomber that he was piloting on a mission against the Axis forces in the Mediterranean theater was shot down. The remark worked, and inspired by the loss of their friend and teammate, the Georgia Bulldogs scored 21 unanswered points for the victory over the bad guys.
Dude, that is so crazy. I had never heard that story. Uh, and this led to like a back and forth email exchange I mean, when Jason sends us this one like sparked a lengthy. We probably should have like hopped on the phone or something, emailing back and forth to each other. It's just it's so crazy to think about this. Um,
Yeah,
like
the greatest generation.
yeah, I mean, we like have these games like Hang in the Balance and, things like that to us. Um, just unimaginable to me. Unimaginable about this. So, but,
Yeah.
and
I
I know
mean,
you were
I
talking about like
figure,
the travel restrictions. Like, I mean, it was like that's why we were
yeah,
playing them in Atlanta. I mean, at Grant Field. I didn't know that.
yeah. So there's a lot wrapped up in this story that is touches on, both the sports history, the UGA's history, and then just American history, right? It's all three
Yeah.
wrapped up. It's like the perfect storm of the Target history. Um, so the travel restriction thing I thought was kind of interesting. So I had to like look that up really quickly. I knew that there were travel restrictions from my studies, throughout high school and college. It's kind of like once you turn 40 or whatever, you become an expert on World War II history and all that kind of
Right.
stuff. My dad used to watch these History Channel and all that stuff. So I feel like I've seen everything about that time frame, but I never had heard anything about the travel restrictions. So apparently, and this is something Jason actually added extra color. Like when we went, was it 42 when we went to the Rose Bowl?
Yeah.
Yeah, so in 42, when we went to the Rose Bowl and UGA had its season, right? Like there were still travel restrictions that were in place. So they could only send a small contingent of fans to the Rose Bowl. They could only send a small contingent of university people, like the team, the coaches, some
Hmm.
small support staff, but no fans were able to go. So, like, can you imagine making it to the Rose Bowl and not traveling to that game?
Yeah, no, that's wild. That's absolutely wild.
And it's not so much, and it's not because of anything other than the US government telling you that you can't.
Right.
I
Right.
just that the concept of that is just mind-boggling to me. And so
Yeah.
I guess that there were I never again, this is just a segment of US history. I guess they glossed over because I guess the tyrannical US government at the time was doing a lot a lot of shady stuff like imprisoning our imprisoning Japanese Americans and treating German Americans very poorly. Um, but one of the things that they implemented that I still find kind of mind-boggling that they're able to do this, but they implemented a national-wide speed limit called the Victory Speed or something like that.
Mm,
Um, that's where the 35 miles an hour came from.
got it. Um, I hope Jason doesn't mind. I want to share the last email he sent. Well, there may have been more, but we were exchanging emails about it, and we were just talking about like not being able to imagine like holy cow, like that these guys were going through this, and um, Jason said like when you think about it, the remark must have hit the guys in the team so deeply. All those men knew they'd be in the military as soon as the season ended, and possibly that they'd be killed. The possibility that they'd be killed was very real. Some men, like Sinkwich, had already been inducted, but had been granted permission to finish out football season before reporting. But he said of the men in that game, so Walter Rourke, who you already mentioned, he was killed in Belgium in late November of 1944, and George Poshner was horribly wounded in the Battle of the Bulge in December of 44. So just crazy. And that's where I know we've talked about it. We were in the email. That's where my grandfather was prisoner of war captured during the Battle of the Bulge. Made it home. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here. Um, but yeah, so it's crazy, man. Crazy times. Thank you, Jason. This one. I mean, this one hit me. Like when I was reading it, I was like, oh my gosh, like I couldn't believe it. So this is a good one.
There's a lot wrapped up in that.
Yeah,
Like we talk about these players, Charlie Trippi, Frank Sinkwich, like about the great seasons that they had, but that was all on the backdrop of just absolute worldwide chaos.
yeah, yeah. Seriously. Well, Jason, thank you.
Incident, incidentally, I saw a Frank Sinkwich highlight today that George Foster posted, where he just like went absolute savage on a guy that had a late hit on him in the NFL when he played for the Vikings.
Amazing, amazing. Well, yeah, thank you, Jason Hasty. And reminder, you guys, if you're interested in the stuff that we talk about from what Jason says, he has the Athletic Association archives at the Hargret Library, in Athens. This stuff is, available to view, and there's always an exhibit going on. Or not always, but in the fall there is. So this fall is the Olympic dogs in the Olympic exhibit going on right now. So stop by and check it out.
Yeah, or just say, hey,
That's right. That's right. And tell him I got a podcast sent you.
yeah,
All right. Couple of news and notes. Um, One, just looking ahead, with the whole ABC ESPN thing, we've known most of the kickoff times, but some, they had not been announced. We did just find out the Auburn kickoff time next weekend. That is a 3:30 game. So back to the old number one game time slot, as Georgia Auburn should be. So I was happy to see that. Um,
cramping my style, Jim. Cramping
oh,
my style for the weekend plans and that weekend. We'll get to that later, but
okay, okay,
that's
uh,
another conversation.
okay. So let's see from Kirby's press conference. We have the hopeful kiss of death has returned. Um, so Kirby was asked about for an update on Michael Williams, and he said, "I'm hopeful. We'll see. He didn't do much last week. He got a lot of rehab. It was He got a lot of rehab Friday and Sunday and was able to run and do some things Friday. and Sunday, which is positive. But he said he hasn't been out of practice today, and we'll see how today goes. So, he also said for Warren Brinson, um, also hopeful, and he gave him the we're hopeful. Or sorry, it was Jordan Hall. He said for Jordan Hall, he said we're hopeful to get Jordan Hall back. So when you're hopeful to get him back, definitely not playing. We know that. So we not expect to see Jordan. Kirby.
I speak Curbinese.
Yeah. What was it like? You sent me a screenshot of like from ESPN. You're like ESPN doesn't know what Kirby says yet, or something like what he means yet.
No,
Uh,
that was Brett. That was Brett.
Amazing. Gosh, shout out Brett. That was a tweet.
I think he tweeted it. Yeah, he tweeted the screenshot of the notification that ESPN was posting.
That's
They're
right.
like,
That's right.
they clearly do not speak Curbinese.
Thank you for correcting me. I didn't put this in the notes, but I was trying to find this in a text. This is something that we were texting back and forth today. Um, it was the Smile Munden comment, and I feel like
Oh
we should already have
yeah.
T-shirts for sale for this. He was asked if Alabama feels like a Mount Everest for Georgia, and he said, "I wouldn't say that. It's like getting over mountain. I wouldn't say that it's like getting over mountain because we done did that before." God, I love that energy. So we done did that before. It needs to be a T-shirt.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, it might make it a little bit more. I don't know. We could probably get Hunter to design something, but
Yeah,
I don't know. Dunn did that is has a nice ring to it.
yeah, I like it. I like it. All right, that's what I had for news and notes. So
Excellent. Nothing earth shattering.
nothing earth shattering. Official injury report not out, or availability report, whatever it's being called. Those come out on Wednesday. So the question is, dude, if it says Michael Williams hopeful, that would be amazing. uh, Inject that as the status. We'll see. Probably not.
Mm. Well, yeah. I guess this is their first SEC game too. So this is the first time they've had to post an
Yeah,
injury report.
this will be their first one. Yeah, I mean, and we had one for Kentucky, but remember it was like way
Yeah,
shorter than we thought it would be. Kirby's not
yeah.
pulling the everyone is day to day kind of thing. We'll see. All right, well let's jump into the matchup, JP. So let's see.
Let's do it.
We said already both teams come in 3-0. Couple of things just team wide. So turnover margin, the dogs do have the edge there. So the dogs are +3 in the turnover margin. Alabama is even. So they've had the same amount of giveaways as takeaways. But the net yards per play, I know it's something that you like to track a lot. So Alabama has the edge there. So they're at 4.04. Georgia's at 3.4. And something I think we've been kind of chatting just around the stats. That Kentucky game is skewing a lot of stuff for Georgia. When you're only 3 games into the season,
Hmm.
one game can make a huge difference, and you see that in the stats. So, all right, let's talk about what we're looking for when Georgia has the ball. All right, so some notable defenders for Alabama. Their leading tackler, I had to go to the pronunciation guide. Um, there is a linebacker, Jihad Campbell. Um, I had to make sure his name wasn't. I
Jihad.
had to make sure it wasn't Jihad. I was like, wait, is his name Jihad?
Jihad.
It's Jihad. So I did find that out. They have a pronunciation guide. So he's the leading tackler, 18 tackles, 18 solo, 28 total tackles, and a half sack. Um, Keon Sab is a sophomore defensive back. He's got 2 picks for 87 yards and 11 total tackles. And Q Robinson is a senior linebacker. He is their sack leader with 3 sacks, and also has 10 total tackles. So just some guys there. Um, this matchup, Georgia offense, Alabama defense. Like if you look at kind of like the FBS rankings, I mean, their defense is more highly ranked than our offense is. But like I said, I think that Kentucky game is kind of skewing it a bit. This is a good, this is a good defense. They're only giving up 8.7 points per game. Um, that's sixth in the country, in the FBS. They're third in success rate allowed. So it's a good solid defense. Saban's gone, but the Alabama defense is still sound. So what are you looking for out of our offense, JP, when they're out there?
I'm going to be looking for our offensive line. I
Mm.
mean, I hate to say it, but like, you know, having Tate out is going to be, you would think would be a pretty big deal. So I'll be keeping an eye on the offensive line, how much time Carson Beck has in the pocket. I think that Coach Hayes did some analysis on last year versus this year kind of stuff, and basically the big takeaway that I got from that conversation was that it seems it feels like Carson doesn't have as much confidence in his offensive line as he has in the past because he's not stepping up in the pocket to try to create more time.
Mm,
There's it's either the confidence in the offensive line or it's a situation where he's just overthinking. And this kind of goes back and it got me kind of thinking like we joked about it on the preseason episodes where we talked about the quarterback microphone and they're able to talk to the quarterbacks, right?
yeah, yeah.
Is there too much thinking going on? Have we is Carson is
Mm,
having Bobo in your head just before you snap the ball a positive or a negative at
yeah,
this stage?
right.
Or whoever is talking to him. I assume it's Bobo, but like whoever's talking to him, is it a positive or a negative? Because is it causing him to overthink and to not step up into the pocket? I mean, if Coach Hayes noticed this, I figure that there's got to be some there's got to be some staffer at UGA that's notifying the coaching staff that hey, this is what's going on. He's not stepping up in the pocket, which I don't know. We'll see. But as the offensive line goes, so does Carson Beck go. As Carson Beck goes, so does the offense go. It would be nice to say that we could rely on the running game, but the running game has also not been super hasn't been super jump off the page at me, right? Like you look at our offensive numbers and it's just like all intents purposes, we're middle of the road offense right now.
Yeah.
I know that the Kentucky game is throwing things off, but like frankly, I don't give a shit. Sorry, Carter. Um, like that's we're a mid we're a mid offense as Carter would say.
Nice.
Um,
A sorry
I
Carter
wanted to
followed by a
see
Carter vernacular. I like it.
we need to at this point I've been talking about the defense showing me. At this
Mm.
point, I need the offense to show me.
Yeah, man. I agree. I agree. I feel like I think number one thing for me, what you said is like as Carson Beck goes, so goes the offense. And I feel like this game is kind of on his shoulders. Um and like I think what I really want to see from him is like the pre-snap reads, like improvements, like checking into the right play, getting your protections set up correctly, like in command of the offense. And then, like you said, what Coach Hayes would say, like pull the trigger on these passes downfield. Because if you go back and
Mhm.
watch Coach Hayes' film review, there were plays there that were left on the field. Um, I think you're right there. I think there's something to what you're saying about the confidence, because there were plays where the blocking was there, and for whatever reason he didn't trust it, and kind of scrambled, um, got flushed out of the pocket when he could have just stepped up and made that throw. So I think that's going to be the big thing. And I don't, no looking at the sideline saying what are we doing, right? Like in the SEC championship game last year. Like I want to see him command this offense. Like the offense is doing what you're telling them to do. So um, that's what I want to see on Saturday.
Well, in his defense, when he said that, what are we doing? I feel like that he was questioning the offensive game plan.
I
But
agree, but
that was my takeaway in that situation. But I mean, I guess what I will say that, whatever has been drilled into his head this offseason, it feels as though he's been told to not make mistakes.
mhm.
Um, and maybe he feels like he can't make any mistakes. And to his credit, the one bright shining stat that I could point to about this offense, which is probably going to be, knock on wood, Jim. um, you know, we're currently FBS number one in terms of giveaways. We have zero giveaways this year.
Yep,
Um, if you don't beat yourself, you have a lot more opportunities to win ball game.
absolutely. And you look at what we did against these guys last year. We had missed field goal, the turnover inside our own whatever it was 35 ish that led to a field goal for them.
Yeah.
You take away those things, take away the Georgia mistakes. It's a different game. So
Yeah, we're on the road. We're on the road in the SEC. We're playing those guys again. Like mistakes. mistakes are things that, we can't happen. We can't have
Yeah.
deflected passes intercepted. We can't have um turnovers, really. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
like I said, the offensive line is probably going to be how it's the offensive line is where it all starts. Is that's the foundation. Like we can sit here and talk about Carson Beck as Carson Beck goes, but really, like if the offensive line can give him time, then I feel like we're going to be in a much better spot,
Totally agree.
even if the running game can't get going. Because I feel like that what the blueprint that's out there right now in the Kentucky game is shut down the run and make Carson Beck beat you.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I feel okay about the run game. I feel okay about the run game. There were a couple of runs that were almost home runs against Kentucky. I mean, first play of the game, if that backside blitzing linebacker doesn't get ETN, he goes to the house. I'm pretty sure. So I and I think last year I know it's new staff and all that, but a lot of the same guys are back. We were running on those guys early. Um, I think we were trying to deal with guys that weren't 100% enforcing stuff to them. So I think we've got the tools to do it. But yeah, man, protect the football, take what the defense gives you, and play our game, man.
I'll quote Aaron Murray too. Not exactly. I'll paraphrase Aaron Murray, I guess is what I should say. Aaron Murray on his podcast said that, you know, you hear that Georgia has all these great wide receivers, that the wide receiver room is amazing and so deep and all this kind of stuff. And
Mm,
he also kind of levied a show me challenge in that regard too. Are
yeah,
you able to get open? Can you get separation? All these kinds of things are also elements of what's going on the offensive line. So,
yeah. I want to see us get vertical with Dominic Lovett, man. That's what I. That's what I
I
want to see
mean,
that.
I personally think the most important wide receiver on the field is going to be Dylan Bell.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, as far as getting vertical, I mean, Arian Smith in single coverage literally said that he loves the single coverage.
yeah, yeah,
So, I mean, I think that those are the kinds of things, we've got James Coley's come back. I'm hoping that the bad juju isn't back with him, but like we've got to get separation. And I feel like that we've seen flashes of that in the season.
mm,
Um, you know, London Humphreys, like
yeah.
is he gonna be a factor in this game as well? Like
Right.
we've got all these guys that can catch the ball. Um, we just need someone to get that separation and show me.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. All right, let's talk
I think
about.
that I think that the crux of this game for me is I have full confidence in the defense. I
Yeah,
have very limited confidence in the offense. So if I'm a Georgia fan, I'm going to be looking for the offense to do something.
yeah.
Like that's like that meme with the stick. Like, come on, do something.
Okay, okay. All right, let's talk about that defense and what we're looking for when Bama has the ball. So notable players for Bama offense. Obviously, it starts with Jalen Milroe. So he's 35 of 52 for 590 yards, 8 touchdowns passing, 0 interceptions. Um, and then from the running back position, Jam Miller is the leading rusher, 29 carries, 265, and 3 touchdowns. Second leading rusher, Justice Haynes, familiar name, 19 carries, 165 yards.
Boo.
Yeah, and two touchdowns. Veron, what's going on here? Um, and then their leading receiver is Ryan Williams, 10 catches, 285 yards, 4 touchdowns. And John, I don't know if you know this or not, but he's only 17. Um, Ryan Williams is 17, is the new Jake Fromm, played in the Little League World Series, by the way. You're going to hear it like at least 95 times during the broadcast on Saturday. That's all TV people talk about. Um, and then
I hope I don't
Jeremy,
hear his name at all.
yeah, seriously. Jeremy Bernard, hopefully I'm saying that right. Second leading receiver, 8 catches, 125 yards, and a touchdown. So like this is the even like higher powered strength on strength here. The Georgia defense, elite, fourth in total yards allowed, first in passing defense yards allowed, um, third in the nation in points per game allowed. The Georgia defense is pretty much playing lights out. And the Bama offense, like the overall like stuff isn't, as far as like FBS rank, isn't as eye popping, but they're explosive. So when they hit the big plays, they're really big. That was something Kirby talked about. Like definition of explosive play, I think is over 20 yards. And what he was saying was when Alabama hits an explosive play, it's not for 20 yards. It's for like 60 yards, 70 yards. Um, so that's what I'll just jump to what I'm looking for is we've got to limit the explosive plays. Um, so what I am super curious about is what is going to be the strategy to do that. In the SEC championship game last year, we did this like spy kind of sit back thing, and we tried to spy Milrow, and we saw what happened there. Although I mean, they didn't. They put up 27 points, and we turned the ball over. Like you could say, it kind of sort of worked. But then we've seen him struggle with pressure. We saw what Auburn did to him last year when they pressured, and then when they let off, he throws the miracle touchdown to win that game. But even South Florida was able to rattle them a bit. And it didn't last because they eventually hit a ton of explosives and pulled away late. But um, I'm curious to see what the strategy is going to be. I was saying I hope it's the whole like blitz thing and pressure him, but I don't know. I don't really know what I'm talking about. So I'm curious to see what the coaches come up with.
Right. Yeah, in- containing. I mentioned from the as far as what I'm looking for. As Jalen Milroe goes, so does the Alabama offense.
Yeah.
Um, I guess that the biggest thing. Hold on, I'm running some quick numbers here. Okay, so I guess that something that I didn't realize until we were just sitting down and just looking at the contributors and the disbursement of how everything is set up. And I think that the takeaway for me is that not only is it Milroe, but also just these wide receivers, right?
Hmm.
So Ryan Williams is accounting for 48% of Jalen Milroe's total yards,
Yeah.
his passing yards.
Yeah.
When you combine this Bernard guy, 70%, almost 70% of Milroe's passing is to these two people. If you can cut off one of them,
Yeah.
um, it makes Milroe's job that much harder. And I do believe that we will figure out ways to get Malachi Starks on top of Ryan Williams. To me, that is a matchup that's going to be made in heaven for Georgia fans. You've got a experienced first round draft pick defensive back that is going to be tasked with a 17-year-old. And I believe that he's going to be able to keep him off schedule for sure. So in that way, I believe that ultimately it's going to come down to can we keep Milroe in the pocket? Can you keep contained, keep him from doing damage? You look at the numbers, you look at the stats, you look at him and Carson Beck, you're like, wow, these two are basically the same. They have the same numbers,
Hmm.
and they do for the most part. The one caveat is that Milroe has a ton of yards rushing and has like 6 touchdowns rushing or something like that too, I think. So Milroe's wild card is his ability to make things happen with his feet. Yeah, I mean I think that our ability to keep him dialed in on a couple of receivers and not be able to find any outlets. That's what happened with us with when we played in 2017 when Devontae Smith, came out of nowhere, right? So they were
Yeah.
able to find an alternate wide receiver to go to when it mattered. Right now, it doesn't look like that they have someone that they can go to because literally 70% of the offense is these two guys right here. And I like our chances on at least containing one of them and controlling one of them.
Yeah.
Um, so we'll see how that goes. The other thing, just to back up since I made that connection, you look at Carson's numbers and, you know, he's got a much greater spread across, his arsenal. Only 20 something percent is to his number one wide receiver. So he spreads the ball around a lot more. So there's opportunity for folks to step up. Whereas they live and die with this right. They live and die with a 17-year-old, which is a dangerous spot to live in when you're playing an elite defense.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Milroe does lead Alabama with 6 rushing touchdowns. Um, Yeah, and the one thing, I guess, well, two things. One, I was really hoping Michael Williams will be back, and maybe he will. The hopeful thing, I don't know, maybe Kirby's trying to throw us off with the hopeful thing. That would be amazing if he's able to return. I'd feel a lot better there just on the whole pass rush thing and disrupting Milrow. The other is that we did see early success with Jalen Walker last year in the SEC championship game, and I feel like we kind of got away from it. But the coaches put a big focus this offseason in figuring out how to get Jalen Walker involved, and he has been involved heavily thus far. So that's the other thing. I mean, if we can figure out a way to get him in the backfield and then have someone else is containing the edge and not letting Miller get outside the pocket, I think that's the path to success there.
Yeah, that's also going to be a key as well from Georgia side of things. So like it's very obvious that Walker is not going to be contained. Like no one has been able to contain him. He doesn't have the stats. David Pollock was talking about that earlier this week too. I heard an interview that he did for one of the podcasts. I want to say it was on three or something, but Pollock he was talking about how just a freak of nature he is, which we all can kind of see. But he gets pressure. Like we don't need him to sack people. We just need him to get pressure. Would love him to get home, but as long as he's creating pressure, I just need the other folks to keep him in the pocket. That's the thing that we've got to do. Like, and that's the challenge against this guy that we've had the last few times we've played them. So
Yeah, yeah, agreed. All right, a couple of quick special teams things. Um, Actually, no, sorry. The only other thing I did forget to mention, we talked about you had your one stat on the Georgia offense where the Georgia offense has not turned the ball over. Knock on wood. Uh, the Georgia defense is the only defense in all of FBS that has not allowed a touchdown thus far this season. So got that going for us too.
yeah,
All right, special teams. Let's see. So Alabama's field goal kicker, Graham Nicholson, is a senior. He is yet to make a field goal this season. How about that? 0 for 1. I guess
I mean
they
watch
don't kick a lot of field goals,
watch
obviously.
watch this space though.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
in a game that I know that not to spoil, but the spread is 2 points, right? Like
yeah, yeah, yeah. So
that could be a difference maker right there.
for sure. They do take their special teams seriously. Their punter is Australian, so they do have an Aussie punter. James Burnap, he's like
They
a
do not take their punting seriously, Jim. They've given up a return. I don't want to hear about
well,
it.
this is true. This is true.
I will not listen to
Those
this
stats are not
Brett
empty.
Thorson slander.
uh, so yeah. And he's like a Ray guy, watch list, etc. type guy. I think he was preseason All SEC. So they do have a good punter. Um,
Okay.
let's see. Yeah, I guess that was mainly it. Kendrick Law is their kick returner, and Cole Adams is their punt returner. So just some guys there. But yeah, so will we continue to see the Brett Thorson no punts returned streak continue? And then also Georgia has also yet to return a kickoff so far. We have fielded kickoffs. We just haven't run one back yet. They've all been touchbacks. Or we ran one back against Kentucky, I think, but there was a penalty. So, or maybe that was Tennessee Tech. We've run at least one back, but it got called back, so it didn't count.
Point of clarity.
Yeah,
In our notes here, I see that Alabama is ranked number one in opponent kick return yardage. Am I reading that right?
yeah, total yards. Yeah,
Okay, so they're not giving up that many yards on kick returns is basically
correct.
how I'm reading that. Okay,
Yep, yep.
fair enough.
I mean, we don't return them anyways, so
But that's not punt, that's kick.
I know kick. We don't return kicks. We have not returned a kick all season.
Oh, right, right, right.
So
Yeah.
yeah. So I expect their number to stay whatever it was, because we're just gonna let any kicks go to the end zone. Hopefully they only kick
Yeah.
off once. All right.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
That's crazy that we haven't returned a kick and we have no opponents returning punts.
yeah, exactly.
Basically, special teams are
Hey, they're
a,
special.
a, a fraction of the importance.
That's right. That's right. All right. Let's hit the listener questions. So as with every episode, the listener questions are brought to you by Working Web Media. Last off season, we sat down. We're working web media. We wanted to redo our website. We weren't happy with it. So they did a great job rebranding it for us, helping us get set up with our new merch store. So you can definitely go head over to mygodapodcast.com to check out their work there that they did with us. And if you're interested, maybe you have a small business, you need some help with your website or your online presence, head over to workingwebmedia.com/dogs and they will know that we sent you their way. All right, JP, first up, we've got our friend Brett Belding, who tweeted at us, and I said, you texted me, so sorry, Brett. Thanks, JP, for correcting me on that. So he said, the Belding bonus, TM, TM, TM. One, how big of an advantage is it that Saban works for ESPN and is also a Bama advisor? It is kind of crazy. It is kind of weird. Like,
Yeah, I call BS. I call BS. I feel like that if
yeah.
you are an employee of the university, you should not be on game day, period.
And, when you're, I guess at least like he's not on the broadcast because if with like the broadcast crew comes in and gets like extra access to the team, gets to ask more questions, to have storylines to talk about during the game. I don't know that like game day so much gets to do that. So
No, but like it's not so much that they get to do it, but like
yeah,
he is a he is an employee still of the University of Alabama, and he is a marketing arm of it
yeah,
since people see his face every single week sitting at the desk on ESPN. So I don't know. I think that it's freaking weird. I think it's BS, especially for a game like this where we're going to be in Tuscaloosa. Basically, every time he speaks, they're probably all going to be cheering for him and all that stuff. So
yeah.
it is what it is. It'll make it that much sweeter when we beat these bastards.
Game day is probably, I don't know. I mean, I generally don't really watch it much anymore, anyways. Although when we're on it, I kind of watch it. I don't know. It might be
Hmm.
unbearable this week with him there. I am kind of interested to see how he plays it. So we'll see.
I mean, all intents and purposes, he's been pretty impartial.
Yeah.
Just to give you insight on when I look for when he's doing media appearances, what is the color scheme of his suit? What is his
Mm.
tie color? Like I watch what his fit selections are for some of these games, and I'll definitely be looking for what he's wearing in this particular game. I feel like
Yeah.
he's probably going to not be wearing any colors for either team, but
Mm.
yeah.
I'm feeling a gray suit with a
I'm
crimson
feeling a
tie.
gray suit. Yeah,
But I'm thinking
exactly.
a crimson tie, like a little, like something just little subtle,
Yeah,
subtle.
like a
So,
houndstooth crimson.
oh my gosh. If he comes out there with a houndstooth hat on,
No, I don't think he's going to do
he's not
that,
gonna do
but
that. He's not gonna do that.
he definitely is going to be wearing a gray suit, is my prediction.
Yeah, yeah. Brett, we totally just
Um,
went off the rails in your question. Hopefully that's okay.
yeah, but no, it's freaking weird, dude. Like
It is. It is.
you work for a school, you shouldn't be. If you work for a school and you're getting paid by a school, you should not be on any net. It's kind of like the political version. Like when you're running politics in an election, like you can't give like preference to one
Hmm.
candidate versus another for interviews and stuff like that. Like if Donald Trump is on SNL, they more than likely are going to be required to give Kamala Harris. If you do an interview with them, then you're going to have to do an interview with them. Like that's the way that
Yeah.
it's a more even playing field.
Yeah.
But it's definitely weird.
Second part of Brett's the belting bonus. What is up with teams in Alabama and multiple mascots and nicknames? Bama has the elephant and is called the Tide. Auburn has a bunch you can choose from. Not sure. It is odd.
I blame the education system for right now.
Nice, nice,
The education system, seed oils, and fried food. I don't know.
amazing. Let's see. Next up, we've got UGA Hoops Mafia. Um, he says Georgia lost last season to Alabama despite having a better team. Do y'all think that was due to the Saban factor, or is Alabama our new 1990s, 2000s Florida, where we are psyched out by the logo? Like we couldn't even beat Ron Zook because of that damn logo in our heads. Sorry, Carter. This is I was actually talking about this with somebody earlier today. Like this is where I hope that this whole thing was Saban, and it wasn't Alabama necessarily, but that it was Saban. I don't know how much this Saturday is going to really answer that question, but That's kind of what I'm thinking, or what I want to
I
believe.
don't I don't know. I think that they were fairly even teams. Like from a blue chip ratio, these two teams are basically fairly even.
Yeah,
I think Bama has a slight edge this season, but that's going to probably change as we roll forward. But I also push back on having a better team because we had Brock Bowers and Lad McConkey were very clearly not themselves in that game.
true. And as we know from Alabama fans have told us, if you have injuries, it doesn't count.
Yeah, I mean, we had injuries going into the game, and I recognize that it's on us to, not play them or whatever. But like,
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah,
I have a feeling that it's just like the fact that we played them, when we played them, how we played them, like it wasn't the same team. So
yeah,
you just kind of chalk it up to, we just didn't do enough, and we came close. So
yeah,
whatever.
yeah. All right, let's see. 51-7 GATA says, considering the recent history between the two programs, how do y'all think Munson would describe the matchup Saturday? And then he included our Munsoning intensifies GIF was what he included there. I wasn't sure exactly where to go with this, so I did do a little prep on this one, JP. If you'll indulge me, I decided
Yes.
to go to artificial intelligence and tell a chatbot that it was Larry Munson, and to describe the upcoming game. So I'm going to read to you. This was Copilot. I'll credit my source. Bing.com is free. All right, this is decent. There's too much stats in it. Well, I'm just gonna read it. Should I read it in my voice or should I do my bad? I'm not gonna do my Munson impression. That's true.
You should totally do your Munson impression.
Uh, so it says, it's a get the picture. Get the picture, dog fans. Like right off the bat, I thought that was pretty good that it did that. So it's a get the picture, dog fans. Here we are heading into Tuscaloosa, Alabama for what might be the biggest game of the season. The Georgia Bulldogs, our beloved dogs, are set to face off against the mighty Alabama Crimson Tide. This is the game we've all been waiting for, the one that's been circled on our calendars since last December. And then it gets into some kind of interesting stuff. I'm going to leave out all those stats. This is going to be a battle, folks, a real slugfest. Both teams are undefeated, and the stakes couldn't be higher. It's not just about the SEC. It's about pride. It's about legacy, and it's about proving who the top dog really is. So buckle up, dog fans. This one's going to be a nail biter. Let's hunker down and get ready for a showdown in Tuscaloosa. Go dogs! Not terrible. Not terrible. I will say
Nice.
he would be more doom and gloom, and
Yeah, I was
he
gonna
would
say.
he would just be he would talk about Milrow like he's unstoppable, which I mean he's good, but that's how he was. You know the time I picked him up to take him to the homecoming parade, he like had me worried about losing to Kentucky on homecoming because that's the kind of guy he was.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, I figured that he would probably be like, "Are you kidding me? We're going into enemy territory. We're gonna be playing a Sherman tank back there at quarterback.
Uh,
Golly, I don't know what we're gonna do about that guy."
he would definitely harp on the fact that he's like, and we got to go to Alabama. Like he's always so
Yeah,
focused on like
that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
we're nowhere near the state of Georgia, like that kind of thing. So
we're gonna be playing those rabid red elephants.
and he would say something about, and they got their old coach on game day. Like I don't know, he'd pull out all the things. All right. Okay. We got a couple people like with Alabama ties. So Onyx Actual said, "How do I survive this week living in Alabama?" And then Gene Fambro said, "Hey guys, love the show. I'm an alum of both schools, Georgia undergrad, Bama grad school, and I met my wife at Alabama. Lots of friends and family are huge Bama fans, no question. Just wish me luck." So both of you guys, best of luck. Gene also is like works with the band at UAB, if I recall correctly. So
Hmm.
what's going on there?
I mean, we need to. He needs to find the Morris Hall crew out there. That's what he needs to find. Sounds like he needs some UGA friends and family. So Gene, find the Morris Hall crew.
True, true. They'll be there.
Otherwise you're SOL. Sorry.
um, Bubby
How do you
Dean,
survive? How
what?
do you survive the week living in Alabama?
Yeah.
We didn't exactly answer that one.
Um.
I'd like to quote
hmm,
one Kirby Paul Smart.
okay.
You don't say it.
Oh man. Sorry, Carter. I would
Whatever
say,
whatever the full quote is there.
yeah, yeah. I mean, you're gonna need to hunker down and hunker down. I'm sure there's some other Georgia fans. Go hang out with Gene, maybe. Um, and I don't know. Yeah, hunker down, stay away, ignore them. Let them talk themselves in a circle. That's kind of what I would do.
Yeah. Definitely agree that we're gonna lose. We're gonna lose 100-0. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know what we're gonna do, guys.
yeah, yeah.
I would definitely be playing that angle, which kind of
Mm,
like, I mean, I feel like that if I'm an Alabama fan, like I'm sitting pretty, I would be blowing all of the smoke at Georgia fans this weekend because frankly, we're in a no-win situation here. So we win this game and it's like, they're going to be saying, "Oh, you guys won because Saban's not around. You never could win when Saban wasn't here." Blah blah. You remember when Saban kicked your ass? Blah, blah. And then they'll be talking about all that stuff.
yeah.
But then if we lose this game, then it's going to be even worse. And it's going to be like, you can't even win when Saban's not here. Like, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Like, it's just we're in an impossible position. So just let them talk all the smoke, and then when we come in and kick their teeth in, like then you can walk that talk.
Yeah. I mean, like stuff like that is why I just like I kind of disengage from that stuff nowadays because it's like they can yap all they want or whatever. I'm just gonna watch what's on the field, like whatever. I'm like, don't let it phase me.
To trigger a friend of the show, this game doesn't matter anyway.
Yes, yes. If you know, you know. All right. Bubby Dean said, "What is the best way to get the vision of the Lexington performance out of my head and replace it to have a glimmer of hope heading into Tuscaloosa?" I'm gonna do that. I think I can disperse that, make you feel better about it with a quick fun fact. Um, I was gonna say this to the end, but it works here. Did you know in that 1942 season that we talked about earlier in Hasty's Hard Grit History, where Georgia beat Alabama in Atlanta, 21-10, by the way. And Georgia went on to be the Rose Bowl and national champions. Uh, that Georgia team went to Kentucky and only beat Kentucky by 1 point, 77-6. And then later in the season defeated Alabama 21-10. So it's been done before, Bubby. All good. Flush it
Yeah.
and move forward.
Yeah. I would also point to the recent history in Lexington for the Georgia Bulldogs
Yeah.
with all world team 2022, and we still had similar results. And that was under a different offensive coordinator for the Craig Lawsons of the world. Um, we
Yeah.
uh we did not have Bobo, and we still had a subpar performance. We had a clunker. We had a
Yeah.
clunker in Lexington. So that's the best way to get the vision out of your head is that the think about the vision that you had at the end of the 2022 season when we had a clunker in Lexington.
That's right. We've been here before.
Pressure is a privilege.
Assume nothing. Keep shopping. Dude, I mean the Kirby sayings fix everything. It's amazing. All right, let's see. Dwight said, "Why are there so few dentists in Alabama?" Oh wait, I meant to like I was gonna update the soundboard and have like the rim shot, like but I forgot to. So, but I like it, Dwight. Greg, Dogs fan forever. Milrow hurt us with his legs in the SEC championship game when his receivers were covered downfield. Safety and corners have to be able to release upfield and defensive ends hold containment so linebackers can scrape and make tackles beyond the line of scrimmage. Do you think the D can do this on Saturday? Go Dogs. Man, we should have just read Greg's thoughts when we were talking about what to look for when Alabama had the ball. Well, we kind of talking about that a little bit. I do think we can. I do think we can do that. I think it's the what you said, John. Keep Milrow in the pocket. Don't let him break contain. That's gonna be the hardest part of that equation. I think. We certainly can. And I think Jalen Walker is going to factor in heavily there on that flush up the middle. So we'll see.
I think that it's definitely in our arsenal to do. I'll add another layer to something that I did not mention earlier, which I should have, which I have heard through the grapevine that practices this bye week, have been very intense.
Yeah.
I imagine part of that intensity is because we played like absolute bukkak on defense in terms of tackling. Like
Yeah. True.
like we had so many missed tackles. I've never seen that many missed tackles on a Kirby Smart team. So um, this guy can't be tackled with his arm. You can't arm tackle Milrow. Like you got to actually like bring him down. So yeah, I think that we can. I actually think that we can do this.
Yeah, me too. Let's see. All school. Can our defensive line hold up with the injuries? Can our OL get it together? How knocked up are we? I think we hit the injuries earlier, so I think we
Yeah.
can. We can. But yeah, I think we hit on that earlier. Uh,
The offensive line is definitely the key there.
yeah.
Like like I said, defense has shown me. I had questions about the defensive line also, preseason or whatever. I feel pretty confident about where they're at right now. It's the offensive line.
Yeah, agreed. Let's see. Ice Dog and Fresh IRC podcast. I think we hit those on like some kind of schematic stuff earlier. Jonathan. Ooh, Jonathan, I need a pronunciation guide. DeGale? Not sure. Let us know. Prediction on number of sacks between Williams and Walker. How will Kirby outcoach DeBoer? I don't know. I think we're probably looking at just Walker. So I would set the over. I mean, shoot, I'd set the over under at one, probably. It's possible
Yeah, I
he could
wouldn't.
do more.
Yeah, I think the question here is, I feel like that as a fan base, we should probably get away from the sack metric
Yeah,
because the last couple of years it's been all about pressures. I
agreed.
mean, obsessing over the sacks seems like a fool's errand in a defense that is just absolutely murdering people right now. I mean, we talked about it on the podcast before the podcast that was lit. Um, look at how Clemson is carving people up and what our defense did to them.
Yeah, true.
Um, as far as the out coach, DeBoer is an offensive guy, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So this is his first SEC game. Um, welcome to the SEC, punk. Um, I feel like that could be an opportunity for. I'm trying to harken back. We've talked about Coach Rick. Do you remember early Coach Rick when he made mistakes with the
Hmm. Yeah,
clock management?
yeah,
I feel like that we could see something like that where there's like a clock management situation, or it's a situation where instead of being aggressive, he should go to field position. And I feel like that patience, that SEC like seasoned veteran coach patience for waiting for the right moment to make a move, as opposed to like being too aggressive and shooting your wad too early or whatever. Um, I feel like that's probably how Kirby would present an out coach opportunity.
yeah, yeah. I think that makes sense. Um, all right, let's see. Fletcher Proctor. If Georgia wins this game, then he said hopefully win. Where does this rank on a list of regular season road victories? List. And this was under Kirby. So he said South Carolina 2018 was nice. Any win in Auburn is nice. Last year at Tennessee was fun. I mean, I think for me, just because of the environment and the atmosphere, Notre Dame's number one for me personally, as far as road wins in the Kirby era. And I feel like that was kind of like the launching point for where we are at now. But man, 17 Tennessee was also pretty sweet. um, all our
Was that
wins
the
at 10.
donut? Was that the donut game?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So, um,
delicious donuts.
but I don't know. I mean, does this? Maybe we can come back to this. I don't know. It would be pretty high. It would be pretty high, I would say. But a lot of that, so much of that to me though also has to do with like ebb and flow of the game and stuff. It's hard to say before knowing what's going like how it plays out.
Yeah, I was just about to say, like, I don't know that I can answer that question because, like, I could answer it now and say, like, okay, if we won, like, it would be great. It would be up there, right? But like,
Right.
let's say we go and win, and then Alabama continues to like down, like it's just a nosedive, right? Like,
Yeah. Yeah. So there's so much like
how would we feel about that later in the season if they don't win another game the rest of the way? You know what I mean?
right.
Like, I
Right.
don't think that's going to be the case, but like,
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot that goes into it as far as like context and stuff that we just don't know yet. So
right.
yeah. So we'll push.
I'm gonna
We
table
table.
that. Yeah.
We'll come back to it later. Um.
Clarifying question.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Aaron King said, big picture wise, with a win, can we finally get over the mental hold Bama, Saban have had on us since Kirby got here? Also, big picture, where are we with a loss? With the rise of Texas and Tennessee, I'm thinking we could be considered between the third and fifth best team in the SEC. I mean, I think it's
That's the
like
best place to be. That's the
that's
best
right.
place to be, and it's gonna.
Yep, number third in the SEC is the sweet spot. uh,
Good news. Good news. This game doesn't matter
that's
at
I
all.
was gonna say, yeah, good. Josh is like shaking his
Like
fist at his radio right now, listening.
I can't wait. I can't wait to get a rage text.
So good.
Yeah, I mean, big picture wise, this game really like if we lose this game and win the rest of them, we're fine. Like even if we lose this game and lose another one, we're probably still fine.
Yep.
Like
In the context of the SEC of the expanded 12-team playoff, I mean the weight
yeah,
of this game is not what it would have been a year ago. Like you
yeah,
just
the
can't
soul
argue that it's
crushing
the
loss
same.
does not exist anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
And as far as like the mental hold, like bro, that I mean, the mental hold there is like if you have a mental hold on Bama and Saban, like that is a you problem, not a reality problem. Because we like as one Smile Mondan was quoted as saying, "We done did that."
God, thank you. I was was I was about to chime in with that, and
Do
you
we have a
hit
soundbite on this? Do
you
we have
already
a
hit it.
soundbite on this?
Oh, it's got I don't.
That is going on the
That is
soundboard.
so good. All right. Okay, Chad Jarvis. This is inside sources because he and I were talking about this. He said, "If we get to 30, do the dogs win?" Yes. And so here's a this is the episode of Fun Facts when we said we weren't gonna be heavy on fun facts. Georgia has only scored 30 or more and lost to Alabama once ever. So if we score 30, we win. I'll move on. Um,
Yeah, I would say that's probably a fair analysis.
yeah. Let's see. Will Garland, two-parter. Can any play ever top Keely Ringo interception as the greatest moment in Georgia
No.
versus Alabama rivalry? And why is the answer no? So yeah, we agree. It was amazing. I mean, I cried and John set off fireworks with Carter. So can't top it.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, this was I already discussed this one earlier with Kim. Boss Dog says, "What are your pregame routines going to look like? Over under on fit changes by halftime, and how many times are we going to sack Milrow, and who will have most of the 5 sacks?" He said, "Also, Jim, please don't go for a run pregame, and John, please do." So that's what I discussed with. Here's my thing about this.
Is that because you went on a pregame run for Kentucky?
Yes. But see, here's my thing. How do we know that Georgia wouldn't have lost had Kim and I not gone on that run? What if that run fueled the dogs to the one point victory? We can't be sure either way. So that's the only thing I'll
I
say.
mean, uh, we don't make the rules, Jim.
I don't know. I'm just saying. Um, I don't know. Okay, so I will say my actual answer is the homecoming dance is Saturday night here for Lily at our high school. So pregame daily activities are going to be focused on having her ready to go to the dance. So that's what's going to be going on at the Wood household.
What are you going
And
to be doing for that though? Like, I'm curious. Like, what are you going to be doing for that?
just getting her ready and then go take pictures and stuff before the game. That's all.
My teenager is like, I'm out.
Hmm. Yeah. Over under fit changes by halftime. I don't plan to change fits for this game. So you don't change fits during game either. So
I
not in the
don't.
not in the plans. Don't see it in the cards.
I'll probably throw on my game day polo, some comfy black shorts, which I like to wear the comfy black shorts when I'm watching at home. And yeah, we'll go to town. Other than that, like pregame routine is going to be, just making sure I knock the run out
Nice.
at some point. Like that's the problem with night games. I almost feel like I need a more constrained time frame on which to get my run done because it forces me to do it earlier. Whereas if it's later in the afternoon or whatever, then I
Yeah.
have like longer to push it off and I can like I'm a notorious procrastinator.
Yeah.
My wife's probably raging out right now with me saying that, but like um yeah, I'm a notorious procrastinator, so if I don't have to do it, I might push it back. I could do it after lunch.
I
I should be doing it in the morning. That's what I should be doing. That's my goal. I'm going to do it in the morning.
right. I tell you what, I'm not going to be doing. I'm not going to be going to a minor league baseball game. That was actually the big one. So
Please, no more baseball
we'll be
games.
doing that. All right. Friend of the show, Tim Riley. Uh, and I've got the big picture with the full Tim selfie for those on YouTube. Again, hey gents, coming to you this week from St. George Island, Norway, Vegas, ATL, SGI the last 2 weeks. With the impending prediction of tropical storm slash hurricane, how do we see potential rain impacting the outcome? Who does poor conditions favor? Cheers. Hashtag beach reps. So we talked about that in the opening, that's kind of out there floating around. We don't really know what the status of that is as of yet. Yeah, I mean that would really be the first one. We thought we could maybe see some rain for Kentucky. That didn't happen. Although shoot, maybe it would have been maybe we would have been better off in Kentucky with rain. Um, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like the rain tends to favor the line of scrimmage and being able to run the ball, which I think both teams are capable of doing. So I'm not sure that it really favors either team here, to be honest. Also,
I'm
last I
looking at
saw, I'm not. I still, like I said, when I looked at the weather, it looked fine. But
yeah. I feel like when I looked at it, that it was supposed to rain earlier this week, like
yeah,
before Saturday.
yeah.
Um, I mean, I definitely see that there's potential because I'm trying to see like where the heck.
I think I've got where the weather could factor in, JP.
Okay.
Could we see swirling winds impact the Bama kicker who is yet to make a field goal? So
Oh yeah, for sure.
I say it favors Georgia.
I would say that it definitely favors Georgia. Um, I mean, I guess that I would classify this as like we're check with me on Wednesday on how I feel about this because really it could change at any moment, right?
Yeah.
Because I guess it's still too early.
Yeah. Honestly, the thing that what worries me the most about stuff like this, and this has been happening a lot this season, is the whole like weather delay thing. That's what I don't want to see.
Yeah, yeah.
We've seen a lot of that in college football this year. Knock on wood. We don't want any of that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know when this picture was posted, but yeah, I mean, by Saturday it's supposed to be gone, but I guess that it depends on how big those rain bands are, right? Like, yeah,
We need
I guess it's possible that it could be raining, but
I should have reached out. I actually know a meteorologist. I should have I should have reached out to get a good answer to this question. She went to Georgia Tech, but still a good friend. All right.
funny.
We'll uh we'll check in on that later in the week,
Yeah.
Tim. All right. Let's see. Last on the listener questions, we got the Hug Dog and Jason's Would You Rather's. JP. Jason says it's a big one. First, would you rather sack Milrow 3 times or win the penalty game?
Sack Milrow 3 times or win the penalty game?
Mm-hmm.
I definitely would take 3 sacks.
No, sir. You definitely think about games with these guys in the past. You want to win the penalty game.
I mean, win the penalty game could mean a number of different things, right? Like, I don't know. I guess for me, like,
Maybe I'm playing too much into it and say win the officiating game because that's tough to do against these guys.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Now I understand.
Okay, okay, uh, okay. But that aside, that's not what he asked. But that was my joke.
I mean, in general, I would say that if we have 3 sacks, that means that our defense is playing really well
Yeah,
against these guys on the trenches front.
right. I'm still gonna say win the penalty game for other reasons. Would you rather score
I
first?
think that wasn't there like I think that both of these teams have been penalized equally.
They
Like,
have. Yes, we're both are averaging like 8 penalties a game or something. It's like something pretty high. I did see
yeah,
that. Yeah, both teams have been pretty evenly penalized. So we will see if that trend continues on Saturday.
right.
Um, would you rather score first or last? We just both sit here in dead silence.
I'll let you answer.
I mean, either it could go so many ways. I guess I'll go last. I don't know. I guess it doesn't really.
In a game that I feel like is going to be fairly tight, I would say scoring first,
Okay. Okay.
especially on the road.
Right.
I feel
Um,
like we could put a lot of doubt in that stadium by scoring first.
Yeah. I was just thinking we scored first in the SEC championship game last year. That's where that's where my head went. Um,
Nice.
would you rather Beck throw deep but throw one pick or stay tight to the sticks with no interceptions?
No interceptions.
Agreed. 100% agree. Would you rather have a rain game or a dry game?
Right game.
Dry game, agreed. Would you? In this one, he said, "Would you rather sing Dixieland Delight or Rocky Top?" And he gave like throwing up emoji.
Unfortunately, I regret to inform you that I've taken the cyanide pill.
Oh man.
But if you forced me to pick and I couldn't take a cyanide pill, I would choose Dixieland Delight only based only on the fact that that is a made up tradition that is absolute like not founded in anything other than like the dumbassery of Alabama people.
Well, it's not even about Alabama.
I know. That's
It's
what
a
I'm saying.
yeah.
Like the only reason that it's a thing is because it was around the time when Bear Bryant like
Yeah. I mean, it was sung by Alabama, like they sang it, and that's what
yeah.
made it popular. But the song's about Tennessee, so
It came out around the time Bear Bryant came. Like that's how
yeah,
it kind of became a thing.
yeah,
But like, yeah, like literally they're talking about Tennessee. Like what the hell?
yeah. Uh, then that was it. But Jason finished up with "Don't have tickets yet, but we will." So, Jason, happy hunting on the ticket front.
Oh wow.
Yeah. All right,
I,
JP. Oh,
I have a feeling they're going to be out there
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Hug dog will come through with the tickets.
always.
All right. That's it for the listener questions. But obviously, we've still got one more segment.
Oh my God! My God, a freshman.
Trying to put glasses on it.
1980, woo, brother!
It is time for Coach Trillbill's Over Unders Alabama edition. JP, you still have the lead by one game or by one over under, I guess, one pick, as they say. So you get the honors of choosing. Do you want to go first? Do you want to kick or do you want to receive?
I'll receive.
Okay. Over under Carson Beck passing yards 225.
I'll go over.
Ooh, I gotta stick with that. Over. Over to me. Over under 125 Georgia rushing yards. I think that's a pretty good line. I'll go over.
125, huh?
Yeah.
I'll go over.
All right. Over to you. Over under 5.5 Georgia players with the catch.
Push.
Uh,
I'll go over.
okay. I'm gonna go over because you dropped the nugget earlier on how Carson Beck spreads the ball around. We're not a two receiver team, so I'm gonna agree with you
Oh, my Nuggets
there.
ruining my over-unders. I'm gonna save my fun facts to coaches over-unders.
So good,
Bastard.
so good. Um,
I'm
okay,
glad I sold you though.
nice. I guess it's your turn, or no, my turn. Um,
Well,
over to
you
the
said you said UGA players with a catch 5.5.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
you took the over.
I took the over.
So
You took
now
the
I've
over.
got to answer.
Nice try. No, you already answered it.
Did I?
Yeah, because remember you went first, and this is the third one. You said over,
Oh, okay.
and I agreed with you. So now it's my turn. Over to the defense. Over under 1.5 Alabama rushing touchdowns. This is a tough one considering Georgia hasn't given up any touchdowns all season. There's my nugget
Hmm.
for you, JP. Man, and Milrow is averaging 2 rushing touchdowns a game himself. I'm gonna go under.
Yeah, I'm gonna also take the under on that one.
Okay. Over to you. Over under 150 passing yards for Jalen Milrow.
Over.
Agreed. Over. And then over under 100 rushing yards for Milrow. I'm gonna go under there.
I'm also gonna go under.
Okay.
I was about to say if you take the over on that one, I'm like, golly, how many points are we scoring in this game?
Yeah, I know. I know. Seriously. Yeah. Take the over on the points total. If that was the case. Okay. Your turn. Over under for special teams. Over under 5.5 total punts. I believe that is across
Total,
both teams.
total punts. I'll go over.
Okay. So it'd be like both teams punt 3 times ish. That would hit it. I could see this being a bit of a defensive struggle, honestly. Nah, I'm gonna go under because I'm gonna be crazy and get some separation on the over unders. Uh,
Hopefully that's not a Kalen DeBoer miscalculation.
and you're gonna outcoach me like Kirby's gonna outcoach the board.
I don't know. Hopefully.
Hopefully. And then last for miscellaneous over under 2.5 Saban versus Kirby mentions, slam the over. Yeah, all night.
Yeah, flame the over. Here's a question. Do you think that they'll show Kirby and Nick together before they show Kalen DeBoer and Kirby together?
Good question.
I have a feeling that there's going to be handshake between Nick Saban and Kirby Smart before we're going to see anything related to Kalen DeBoer and Kirby Smart.
Yeah.
Although
Possible.
maybe Kirby's going to be he'll keep the main thing and not even get anywhere near Saban.
Yeah. Yeah, that will be interesting. Well, he'll be on the set of game day at some point, I would assume. So he'll see him then. But come like
Oh, that's
pregame,
right.
yeah.
I
But come
forgot about
pregame
that.
time, like in the stadium, yeah. I don't
They usually sit next to Saban too, don't they?
know.
Don't they usually sit? Isn't it usually
Yeah, they're kind of
Fowler,
like.
Herb Street, and then there's like the guest picker and Saban?
Did you just go back to Fowler? Fowler's not on game day anymore. But
Not Fowler,
I
sorry.
like where your thought is because
Reese Davis.
it was better back then.
Desmond's on
Whatever.
the left. Reese, Herb Street, Saban, and
No,
no,
Herb
Herb
Street's
Street's
on the end.
Herb Street's on the end. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like trying to visualize what it is,
Isn't
but
like his
like
Corso there too? Like what? There's too much going on with game day.
Corso is only at the end though.
Okay. See, I don't even know. I haven't really watched it this season yet. So maybe I'll watch it on Saturday.
Corso's at the end, yeah. And then you also got McAfee's in there too.
Right. Yeah. He's kind of in the middle.
Yeah. It's because they always have Saban and McAfee next to each other, right?
Like the polar opposites.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they throw the guest picker the guests and the coaches like right in the middle.
right. Right. All right. Well, Coach, as always, thank you for sending the over-unders and tracking them, as always. All right. On to the predictions. Let's look at. Okay. So the spread is currently at Georgia -2. It's moved around a bit, but right now, as we're recording Monday night, so as of right now, Georgia is favored by 2, and the over under is 49.5 points for the total. That would give an implied score of Georgia 25.75 to 23.75. Let's see, Odds Shark, their predicted score has Georgia winning 37.4 to 30.2. So that would be a win, a cover, and hit the over. College Football Insiders, so the model that Stats Award puts together, has Alabama winning 29.56 to like 18.5. So those are some of the things I've seen out there. I don't know, man. This is definitely not just a protect the ball, win the game kind of game. We're gonna need to see more than that from the Dogs. This is this is a true. I think to me, I feel like this game feels like it's gonna like live up to its billing, like a true heavyweight matchup under the lights in Tuscaloosa, number 1 versus number 4, or 2 versus 4, depending on who you're asking. This feels like one of those big Georgia Alabama slugfests. While I said it's not a protect the ball, win the game, I will say, like last year when we played them in Atlanta, if we protected the ball, I think at worst that game's going to overtime. At best, we win it. So to me, it's protect the ball, take what the defense gives you, limit the explosive plays by Alabama. I'm going Dogs 27-24.
Yeah, I'm looking at how did you get to the college football insiders thing? Oh, 27-31. Okay. So they're saying 27-31.
So that's changed.
Yeah. That's why I was.
Yeah. Okay. So I did that yesterday. And so now it's 31-27, basically, Alabama. They've still got Alabama win, but a lot tighter.
Yeah, that's a lot tighter. Yeah, I'm struggling with this one, especially given the context of that I predicted that Carson Beck would go over.
Those things don't have to match up, by the
way. we're totally degenerate gambling predictors right now. I want to say like what was your score?
27-24 Dogs.
27-24. Yeah, that feels pretty good. I was going to say 28-26. You know what? I'm going to go 31-26 Georgia.
Okay.
I like 30 points, get to 30. I think that we're going to see a different evolution of the offense. I feel like that Kirby's tired of this narrative, and I think that having the edge as being an experienced coach in a foreign territory, well, foreign territory for most people. Obviously, it's not foreign for him because he's played there before, or he's played there before and he's coached there before. So, I have a feeling that he's going to be able to instill a lot of confidence that Kalen DeBoer just physically is not going to be able to establish that confidence. And I feel like that's going to be the difference. Kirby's been there and done that. This is Kalen DeBoer's first show.
We done did that.
We done did that.
Print the t-shirts.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Just tackle
it.
that bastard Milrow.
I like it. Yeah, man. Keep contain Milrow. I mean, they're not on the same field. They're not on the field at the same time, but man, this definitely feels like a quarterback duel type game. So we'll see.
I hesitate to say that it's going to be a quarterback duel. I just think that it's going to be a quarterback duel of who can flinch first.
Mm-hmm.
Who's going to flinch first in this game?
Yeah.
Because that will be where the edge comes from, is who makes the mistake. Neither one of these quarterbacks have made many mistakes.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Neither one has thrown a pick so far.
Right.
All right. Let's do coaches pick'em games. We've got first up Mississippi State against Texas.
Texas is the team to beat right now.
Yeah, agreed. I'm with you on that one. This one could be interesting. Oklahoma.
That's at Texas though, right?
That's what I was looking.
I feel like every game that Texas plays is at Texas right now.
Yeah,
like
it
they
is.
They don't ever play any away games.
Yeah, it is at home. Mississippi State at Texas. Yeah, I mean, their horns big in that one.
I mean, I feel like this is definitely if you are Texas and you don't like if you don't get home on this schedule, like you may be in trouble.
Yeah,
because this schedule is probably as kind as it's going to get.
Yeah. Next one, Oklahoma at Auburn. So number 21 Oklahoma at Auburn.
Smash Auburn.
What does that mean? Auburn to win?
Auburn to win, yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
neither team has much of an offense.
I mean, in Auburn, like,
yeah,
that's a tough place to go for.
Yeah,
that's going to be their first. Is that their first road SEC game?
I think so. I mean, they just lost to Tennessee this past weekend.
They lost to Tennessee.
Yeah. So, which I believe was their first SEC game.
Right.
I'm going to take Oklahoma. I'm going to take Oklahoma with their new quarterback that they switched to last week against Tennessee. So I'm going to go Oklahoma on this one.
I mean, that Oklahoma defense held Tennessee down. I remember I was watching it under I wasn't able to completely dial into the game, but yeah, dude, I remember looking up and being like, huh, they only scored 20 points. It's crazy.
Yeah, their defense was good, and they kept getting They kept turning Tennessee over and then turning the ball back over in one play. So it's kind of a crazy game.
Sounds amazing.
Okay, next one, Arkansas against Texas A&M. This is a neutral site game, technically, in Arlington, Texas.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. I kind of want to go with Pittman, just because
let's go with Pittman.
Fighting some Pittmans. Yeah, let's do it, because it's our podcast, and we can do what we want.
You can do whatever the hell I want.
And then the Fighting Hunters, Ole Miss against Kentucky. Let's see, that is Kentucky at Ole Miss. That's a nooner. So that's an 11 a.m. local kickoff. Ole Miss against Kentucky.
Ooh,
yeah.
Is that a trap game?
I mean, is it? I mean, yeah. I mean, I think that by definition, I would say yeah. Can Kentucky slow down that Ole Miss offense? No one's been able to thus far. I'm gonna go with Hunter's alma mater.
Yeah, it's the Fighting Hunters.
Yeah.
Although I'd love for Kentucky to give them an absolute barn burner, because then it would shut everybody up about our game versus them.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah.
Hey guys, Kentucky's pretty good.
Yeah, that's right. All right, that's it for coaches pick'em games. Let's see. So I said for me, we've got homecoming going on. We'll not be going to baseball game. Run is kind of TBD. Although if it makes everyone feel better, I'll just say we won't go for run. Kim had actually vetoed the run already, anyways. I think so. We'll see.
She vetoed. How far did you guys go?
2.5 miles.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. What do you got going on? What are your watching plans? We will be watching on the back porch. I know that.
I am up in the air right now on what I'm going to be doing.
Okay.
Probably here at the house, but I'm up in the air.
Okay. Game time decision.
Yeah. I will say that there's a crazy wrinkle in me that's like, I'm gonna drive down there and do the game.
Nice.
But there's a more rational side of me. I will say that it would be a little bit more braver if I didn't have a worry about the weather situation. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Have you ever been there?
never been.
Okay.
I don't really go on away games really.
Yeah. I did like when I was in school, I went the last 2 years I went like everywhere. So I was at that O2 game, but that's the only time I've ever been there.
Nice. Yeah. Probably would just be a in-game day
Experience situation for me, but
Yeah. Yeah.
anyway,
Gotcha.
I think I'll probably just end up because Carter's got a flag football game. I think actually I need to confirm his. I actually don't think he has one because it's fall break, so that wouldn't make any sense.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean
I'll probably just be at the house.
okay. Yeah. The only thing I got
We got a killer slider recipe
Ooh,
that
nice.
picked up from a couple friend of ours that I actually ate it on Saturday on the bye week, and I was like, man, this is amazing. I need to
Nice.
do this.
You know what I just realized? Because everything has been different this season, the way like our weekends go and everything, because Ella is away at college. It's just us with Lily. Lily will not be at home for this game because she'll be at the homecoming dance. Or I don't know. I think she's. I will say this, like true Georgia fan. She at one point was like, "Dad, I can't go to homecoming because I have to watch Georgia Alabama." So I, not that me saying this had any like influence, but I was like, that's kind of ridiculous. Like you don't need to not go to the dance for the game. Unrelated, she decided to go, but yeah. So we'll be at home, Lily. But so Lily is not a huge fan of the bean dip. Ella is a huge fan of the bean dip. We have not been doing game day bean dip.
You need
So
to do a game day bean dip.
so we're doing the bean dip on
Fuck it.
Saturday. I think Kim and I will just do the bean dip for dinner. So I just came up with that plan right now. So that's what we're doing.
I like it.
So bean
I
dip will
can
be it.
get on board with that.
Nice. Cool.
Maybe I'll make a bean dip too.
Nice. Now you've got the recipe. So I've sent it.
I know you've sent it.
I can
I'll
send
have
it
to find
again.
I'll have to find it. You need to tweet it out to the folks.
I'll
Let's
tweet
tweet
it
it
out.
out to the folks.
We'll
Join
tweet it
us in our bean dip revelry.
I like it. I'll do that. I'll do that.
I did make banana bread today. I will say that.
Nice.
There will probably not be any left for game day breakfast.
I would imagine not. Yeah, early week recording. We recorded this on Monday. JP, this will free you up for your Braves watching for the rest of the week with the big Braves series coming up. Thought that may make it a little easier. So yeah, man.
Yeah, it's gonna be like Wednesday, Thursday-ish is where it'll be more of a wrinkle, which
Okay.
we weren't gonna be recording those days anyway.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we're 2 games back, right?
I haven't looked at I don't know. I looked the other day. I thought it was more than that, but I could be wrong. Oh, 2 games back of the wild card?
Correct.
Got it. Sorry. I had looked at the division. All right, man. Well, this was fun. I'm expecting a slugfest. Like I said, a heavyweight slugfest in Tuscaloosa. Gonna enjoy our bean dip and pull the dogs through.
Absolutely, man. Let's how do you eat an elephant, Jim?
I don't know. How do you?
One bite at a time.
Nice.
Go dogs.
Go dogs.
At Kroger Pharmacy, CARE is making it easy to get vaccinated. CARE is helping you stay protected from flu, COVID, and RSV. Seasonal vaccines are available 7 days a week with evening hours. CARE is giving you a shot at staying healthy this season. Walk in whenever is best and get multiple vaccines in one visit at your local Kroger Pharmacy. So come and get the protection you need while protecting those around you. Kroger Health, a world of care is in store. Visit Kroger.com/vaccines for more. Restrictions and exclusions apply. See site for details.